um, before I greet you, I want to start with a Sanskrit mantra which is recited before we begin anything auspicious. I'm sure most people understand English. So, if you have any doubt, you can stop me and ask, okay? So, I need to start with this because the ultimate aim of human life is that every single creature in the universe enjoys the joy of cosmic well-being. So this mantra is about that. So first I will chant it, then in a nutshell I will give you the meaning. We don't have to go elaborate, and please, you don't have to remember it. Okay? If you can, it's good, but you don't have to. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Which means, you know Shanti, last. Om Shanti Shanti. May there be peace, may there be peace, may there be peace. Now the beginning of the mantra, which was recited when the teacher and the taught. Sometimes it reverses, the teacher and the taught also. So when the teacher and the taught sit together, this is chanted, which means, may both of us be protected. You and I. May you and I be protected. Sahana Bhavatu. Protected from what? Protected from distraction. Protected from going on the wrong path. Protected from leading a violent life. Protected from not creating problems for oneself and for others, and so on, and protected from. Also, here we are quite protected, but in the forest they also said protected from the wild beasts and so on. Here it's okay. Basically, it means protected from distracting thoughts which take us away from the center. Sahanao Bhunaktu. Next. Means, may we be, you and I, be nourished. Nourishment is very important. Physical nourishment, mental nourishment, psychic nourishment, and soul nourishment. In the ancient Indian teachings, we not only ancient Indian teachings, also in the Sufi teachings, also in the Kabbalic teachings, also in the Pista Sophia, there are different grades, different layers of which form us, which form the human being. Physical, mental, psychological, and finally the soul. So may all this be nourished. Because if you don't nourish, if there is no food, if you don't eat food for 10 days, you cannot even think physically. In the same way, if you don't give mental nourishment, the mind becomes weak and collapses. Soul nourishment we can't discuss now. We'll go to it later. So, may we be nourished. Saha viryam karavavahai. May our virya, our energies, increase. People don't think that the spiritual path is something where you have to be weak and not be able to walk. You need energy. Virya is necessary. So that's why it's good to start young, when there's enough fuel in the car. The fuel is over, where will we drive? So, may our energies increase. Tejasvi now. And when the energy increases, there is an increase of illumining light in everybody. Tejas, the glow of the spiritual energies which have been gathered together and which have not been distracted. May that increase. And the last, very interesting statement. I'm pulling this. Ma vidvishavahai. Let's not fight with each other. Maybe not quarrel with each other. Because a discussion and a dialogue are different from an argument. When there is an argument, you think you're right and I think I'm right. There is no solution. But when there is an understanding that you and I are together going to look at a problem, then what happens? Then there is understanding. So an argument is a quarrel, a discussion, a dialogue, which in Sanskrit is called a samvad, is we both sitting together and looking at the problem, trying to solve it. I don't, even if I know the solution, I don't pretend to know. I say, let's look at it together. That way, the solution becomes your solution, not my solution. Right? If I say, this is the solution, it might be my solution. But when you find out, it's your solution. So this is the mantra, and another one which is chanted is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. This is beautiful. May all creatures and living beings on this earth be happy. Loka Samasta Sukhinah. May the whole world be happy. So with this we start. Okay? Hoping that this will happen at some point. When you look at the world, sometimes one wonders when it is going to happen. But I believe that we have to change first. We can't change the world till we change. The change has to come from inside. So we are here to find out, if you haven't changed, how to change. Maybe you have, I don't know. If we haven't, how do we change? How do we expand? How do we move from this small little circle of being only about myself and expand? Am I only this body? Am I only confined to this limited mind? When I think, can I only think with my puny little brain? Or is there something else in me, a wider dimension? This is what we will examine in this retreat, and I am hoping at the end of the retreat, at least we will have some idea about this. Small idea is enough. It can do wonders. Small drops make the ocean. So this is the aim of the satsang. When I say satsang, first let me apologize for sitting like a stupid doll in a chair when all of you are sitting beautifully with crossed legs. Unfortunately, just before I came, I've had a surgery of a hernia, which is caused by myself, nobody's fault. And the doctors have advised me not to sit cross-legged for 2 months, which is a terrible thing to tell me because my whole life is cross-legged. The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is to sit cross-legged, and the last thing I do before I go to sleep is to sit cross-legged. I have been denied that now. and I follow doctor's advice very strictly, just as I followed my master Babaji's advice very strictly. He was like a doctor, he was curing me of this certain disease. Many of us have the disease of thinking that we are isolated, small, puny individuals and everybody is different. When that is removed, there is only one. There is no many. All are one. In fact, the word alone is made of all one. Unity. So anyway, so I apologize for sitting like in this funny shaking. The other is, today, since the starting day, we might limit the satsang to a shorter period of time because of this problem here. From tomorrow onwards, I promise to make it a little longer as much as we can. And as the satsang proceeds, at the end of it, I would like you to definitely interact with me. If one doesn't interact, then one cannot move on this path. Since ancient times, if you look at the ancient, the student went to the teacher, and the teacher did not lecture to him and say, go. He talked to him and then he said, now you ask me, what's your problem? What's your question? So the whole of the teachings have been dialogues. We have a beautiful scripture called the Bhagavad Gita in India. Believe me, because it comes from India, don't think that it is only for India. It's a universal scripture. The setting, the scene has been India, but that doesn't mean anything. Because the sacred books of Egypt were written in Egypt, it doesn't mean that it's only for Egypt, right? It's for all. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it's a beautiful dialogue between two friends. One of them is, of course, divinity manifest. The other is divinity not yet manifest. Two friends. And they're like friends, also brother-in-laws. Also the teacher is acting as a chauffeur for the student, Krishna and Arjuna. Like two good friends. Of course, in the end, Arjuna realizes, oh my God, this is not just an ordinary friend. That doesn't end. But it begins like that. And he asks plenty questions. Not to disturb him, but because he's so serious about it. Like, there is a chapter called Dhyana Yoga, 5th chapter, which talks about meditation. So at the end of it, Krishna, the teacher, says to Arjuna, who is the student, listen, make your mind so quiet and calm and tranquil, like a lamp that is lit when there is no wind, steady flame. So Arjuna says, look, it's okay, all you're saying about wind not blowing and the lamp and flame and so forth, it's not easy for me. It's easier to stop the wind than to stop my mind. It's stronger than the wind. So if you say stop it like a flame without, what am I supposed to do? Can you please explain? So it goes like that. It's a dialogue, healthy dialogue. Not each trying to prove that I'm right or you're right. So as we proceed, we can also have dialogue. Of course, questions never end. Because we answer 10 questions, we get another 11 back. But when you figure out that questions are part of the movement of the mind, and when everything is still, then there is nothing to ask. That is something that has to happen, not something which can be imposed on anybody. Now, since the notice says satsang, I want to start with the meaning of the word satsang. Satsang, like all Sanskrit words, is made of two verbs. One is sat and the other is sang. I think this is simple, right? Sat, sang. Now sat means that which is true. When I say true, which means that which always is, unlike that which is here now and gone tomorrow. I'm sitting here now. 15 or 16 years later, I think, roughly, I won't be here. So, I'm not permanent. Same in this world, nothing is permanent. You can put up big statues, but what happens in the end? Birds shit on their heads, nothing happens. And it's the same with anything. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow. There's nothing permanent. And happiness, I think I'm happy with this. 2 days later, I think I'm happy with that. Then finally I decide I'm not happy with anything. So it goes on and on, life goes on and on. And there is nothing so permanent, which is what life is all about. It's not permanent. We are saying that in the midst of all this movement and all this circle, there is some element, an essence, which is permanent, which is always there. It never was, and it is never not going to be. Always. It is this that the spiritual seeker is looking for. You know, how does life go on? Because we seek happiness. If we got happiness from one action, then we wouldn't do anything else. Finished. But no. I go, then I find, no, this is not enough. I'm not happy. Then I do something else. This is life. So here, this is what we seek. What do we seek? Happiness which does not change. But we try to seek it outside, in the outside world. We don't find it till finally we rest in peace. Please, I am not painting a bleak picture of life. Life is wonderful. It's lovely. Beautiful flowers, lovely mountains, snow on the top, good people. It's nice. The problem starts when I want it for myself only and not for others. Yeah, it's beautiful to see beautiful flowers. The moment I say I need to pluck it and put it in the pocket, the problem starts. I love cars, but that doesn't mean I want to possess the car. It's nice to see a pretty lady driving a Porsche. I don't want it. You get what I mean? So you can enjoy life and not get caught. If you get out, eliminate this, that I want it only for myself. This can break only through spiritual experience. So it is that reality which is permanent and which is not temporary, which is here today and gone tomorrow, which is called Sat, meaning truth. And it has no religion, it has no gender, it has no political affiliation. It is there for all, each and every one of us. So we seek that. So how do we find it? So then we have a Sangha, Satsang. Sangha means a group of like-minded people sitting together, coming together and trying to investigate into this truth. Then it becomes a satsang. If You are here today. There must be something in your life, something in your mind which says, I need to go beyond. I need to look into this matter, otherwise you won't be here. There are so many people who are quite okay with skiing. Skiing is nice. I'm not saying you shouldn't be skiing, but that's not the be-all and end-all of existence. Yeah. I also skied once, fell down and got a good injury on my right knee. Anyway, so there we are. So this is a satsang. So why I explain this is because next 2 days, today, tomorrow, we're going to discuss some topics which hopefully will lead us to the truth. And we will not confine ourselves to any one stream, but look at different streams and how they flow and move to the ocean. Some people think that there is only one way to the spiritual fulfillment. We believe that there are as many ways to spiritual fulfillment as there are a number of people. It cannot be the same. There must be different ways because we are all made differently. Somebody may be a Christian, somebody may be a Hindu. That's our background. So then you approach it that way. Finally, when you reach the goal, you say, it's the same. But if I tell you, no, you should become a Hindu first, or you must become a Muslim first, then you will find the truth. Then it doesn't work. Right? So we are going to look at it together and try to move forward one step at a time. Can't also take too many steps. When I was a young boy, I was wandering in the Himalayas, and on the way I went to a near the hills, a monastery where there was a sadhu. Well, I was so hungry, but food wouldn't be served till the entire ritual of puja was over. So I had to wait for 2 hours. It was very elaborate. Anyway, at the end of it, we got food. I got food. And then after the food, I saw this man was very orthodox. He had a line here and lines here and all and so on and many. But he was a good man. We can never find out a person by external appearance. He may be simple or he may look complicated. It doesn't matter. Heart is important. The man was very nice. He said, you are a young man, so what are you planning to do? I said, look, I have come all the way from my home. I have given up. I have burnt my bridges. And I am here and I am going towards spiritual understanding, looking for somebody to guide me. This was before I met Babaji, on the way to Badrinath. Somebody told me recently she went to Badrinath and went to the cave where I met Baba. Tomorrow I'll tell you a little story about Babaji's meeting. Tomorrow. Because we always have to keep something for tomorrow, right? So, what did I say just now?
Okay.
You went to Badrinath?
Yes, yes. So we are all listening. Good. So he said, do you want to become a sannyasin, which means a renunciant, a monk? I said, I think yes. Believe me, I am not even now a monk. So he said, just be careful. He said, think about it. It's good to be a monk, okay, but if you climb 3 steps and fall down from that height, you can still dust your back and escape. But if you climb 15, 20 steps and go to the top, And then by some chance you slip and fall, you'll probably fracture both your legs. You won't be able to get up. So he said, don't hurry. Go slow. Careful. You understand what it means? Because in the spiritual practice, many people get so enthusiastic that they want to practice 2 hours a day and finally they stop practicing. I know good friends. Because there is no time, and then you say, no, if I don't do it, then it's not worth it and it's gone. So start little, slowly. Patience is very, very important. And it's the straight and narrow path. You have to go carefully. You don't have to become a monk, that's not what I'm saying. But you have to be careful. You should care for how you live. Spiritual practice is not like, I will live as I like, but I will practice pranayama and be free. Not possible. You should also change your life. And then, if you add a technique to it, then you move. Otherwise, there is no chance of moving. If I say, every day I'll drink 10 bottles of beer, but I will do my pranayama, not possible. I'm not saying in a hot day if you want to have some beer, it's okay, but it's vegetarian anyway. I don't drink. So what I mean is, there should be no extremes. That's what the Buddha meant when he said the middle path. And in the Gita, Krishna says, this yoga is not for him who eats too much, or eats too little, or sleeps too much, or sleeps too little. There has to be a moderation in life. And then along with that, if you are properly advised by somebody who has experience in these matters, then there is a good chance of moving forward. You have to be patient. There is no other way. Because each individual spiritual journey, the speed may be different. Don't imitate another person. Because you don't know now, but you have come through many past lives. And there are many influences. So what one person, the speed he has, you may not get because of various reasons. So you shouldn't give up in disgust. Right? Carry on your path. So these are the things that we are going to examine. And the ultimate truth is something which cannot be defined. Saw a little booklet in the room written by Ms. Annette Kaiser, and I was very interested in one point where it is said that the truth is so indefinable that you can't always, it can't be grasped. In fact, it is when all grasping stops. When you have no more grasping down, then it is there. So, to illustrate this truth that we seek is almost like nothing. When I say nothing, it means no thing. It's not a thing, see? And which is why the Buddha called the truth shunya. Shunya actually in Sanskrit means zero. When my ego becomes zero, then I see that zero, what it is all about. Right? Zero looks without value, but when you add 0 to 1, it is 10. You add more zeros, it's 10,000, 1 lakh. Zero has value, but it appears zero. Zero is how is zero written like this? There is nothing inside. So this is where we move, to touch it. So say if we are moving towards nothing, I have nothing to do. No. That nothing is the essence of everything. In the Upanishads, there is a beautiful story. A great rishi, you know what a rishi is, a great teacher, a great yogi sends his son to learn the truth from another man. After many years, the son comes back. So the father asks the son, have you found the truth? And the boy says, I think I have. Then the father says, if you think you have, then you have not found the truth. Because if you found it, you know. You can't think that you found it. Okay, he says, let me ask you something. Have you seen this banyan tree in India? Huge, with roots coming down from the branches. He says, go to the banyan tree and bring me a seed which has fallen from the banyan tree. So he brings him a seed. It's usually little large. He says, now son, remove the peel. Take the peel off. So he peels it. What do you see? I see the kernel. Kernel, kernel inside, white. Okay? He says, open it. Open. What do you see? I see small little black seeds inside, very tiny, like mustard. Okay, take one of the seeds and open it. So he takes it and opens it. What do you see? He said, I see nothing. Then the father says to the son, it is from this nothing that this huge banyan tree has come. Understand the meaning of nothing? It's not nothing. It's the essence of everything, but it is so invisible and minute that with our eyes we cannot see. So, in this search, in this journey, you and I are going to, from tomorrow, look at this world and see how real it is. I don't know. We'll examine. It looks real. You can hear the sound. We'll see how life is taking us along on its journey. We'll see how everybody finally goes and then they write RIP, rest in peace. We are going to find out if we have peace before that, not when we rest. In fact, my guru, Babaji, used to say that RIP actually means rise if possible. Nobody has accepted the challenge. So we are going to examine all this tomorrow or day after, and you're free to ask me questions. Don't think, oh, how can I ask this question? It's a little silly. Nothing is silly. I have good friends who keep mailing me silly questions. What do we do? Examine them. So, this is what we are going to do, and I hope you have a good stay. It's a beautiful place. It's like staying near the Himalayas. Today I went to have food in the evening, and from the window it was like Kedarnath standing there. Did you see? You're lucky I can't see from my room. I saw it from the dining hall. It's beautiful. It has its own significance, the majestic peaks with snow on it. So we are slowly climbing up and seeing if we can reach the summit. Who knows? Who knows? You might go back after having climbed, or you may be halfway and continue to climb. But I can assure you, at least you would have moved a few steps. Humbly, I am saying this. So there we are. Okay? So if you don't mind, today, you mind. Today we can end with this. Is it okay? I'm also a little tired. And I once in a while need to stretch my legs. Tomorrow I will give you no excuse. What time is the satsang? 9. So 9 to, we'll go on, we'll see when to stop. Yeah, that they all have the program. 7 we have meditation, yes. Tomorrow we just meditate. Then in the talk, in the discussion, we will discuss different modes of meditation. Then you can do what you should. So there we are. Okay. Now, some people have requested for a one-on-one. The problem is there are around 100 people here. So if I have a one-on-one, giving 10 minutes to each person, how many minutes does it make? No, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the practical side. So I'm just thinking, unless it's very personal, after an hour or half of satsang, we can have small group meetings. You can discuss matters which you don't want to broadcast. This is possible. One-on-one, we'll see how it goes. If there is time tomorrow, day after tomorrow, little bit of time, we'll try and work it out. I'm saying this only because the practical difficulties, not because I'm afraid of meeting anybody. No. And believe me, there was a time, 5 more minutes, there was a time when I used to sit quietly in my place near the hills in Madanapalli. People used to come, 1, 2, 3. We used to meet, talk. I didn't have a cook, I cooked for them. We had tea and we did many things. Then my master had told me, write your autobiography sometime. So I wrote my autobiography. When the circus started. So now there's no time. I can't get that kind of time which I used to. But then, believe me, if I find somebody really, really serious, I will take the person away with me. But generally we don't get that kind of time. But it's okay. Are there any restrictions? We are talking very freely, right? So, I had a very good friend, much older than me, who was a well-known teacher. He used to also come to Switzerland sometimes, to Zonneveld. So one day, we were really very good friends. He was much older than me, of course. So one day in the evening in India, the subject given to this person, I'm not using the name because then everybody, the subject given to him was, which people wanted him to talk about, was meditation. By the time the talk ended, it was evening, the sun was setting. So he, in his usual style, it is not his own style, it's an ancient style. The great teacher Shankara, who wrote the Advaita philosophy of monism, adopted the very same principle. Not this, not this, not this. When you can no longer eliminate, then what remains is the truth. So, finding the essence through elimination. Tough job and dangerous for some. So, when the subject was meditation, the whole 1 hour, he took up all forms of meditation that we know of and dismissed them as this is not meditation. So nothing remained. Everything was demolished. And the sun was setting and the crow flew across. And it was quiet and beautiful and nice. Like this. It was meditation. Without a word. And then suddenly in the mid-front row somebody stood up and said, "Sir, then what is meditation?" He just put his face in his hands and said, "My God, what a generation."
What a generation.
We'll see, we'll proceed. Yeah, it's about how many minutes? 40 minutes. Thank you. Not bad, I thought it was 15 minutes. So, we will be meeting also, otherwise, the dining hall can interact. And when I'm in the table, don't get worried. You can come and sit there. See, look, I'm not wearing any robes, I don't have any paraphernalia. I'm like you. So, keep that in mind. Okay? And people who have read my autobiography, do I look normal? Thank you. Tomorrow we meet at 7 o'clock for meditation. This same place? Yeah, same place. Any other announcement? No.
Yes, maybe you want to just take please all your personal belongings with you so that we can clear up the room, and tomorrow we have a new setting and everything is due tomorrow morning.